haven't been able to find your brother.
They aren't gonna look for Rodney?
No. It's a whole nother world up in there. The own breed of justice, and it does not include us.
Christian, if I can, I want to ask you, your character here is a man who's really just trying to sort of live a simple and uncomplicated life in a world that gets increasingly complicated sort of around him. And I'm just curious what it was that sort of initially attracted you to playing this character.
First off, actually, it was just talking with Scott. I liked the conversations that I had with him. I liked Crazy Heart as well. And then, you know, in honesty, every time I read a script for the first time, it's not anything that I can articulate about why I like it. It's a gut feeling. And very much, you know, you read some scripts and some are good, some are bad, but, you know, often you read good scripts, and but some of them you forget about after a week. And for me, it's a visceral thing that if you're still thinking about it for weeks afterwards, then there's something there that's sort of hypnotizing you, something that you still want to discover about it. You want to go back and revisit it, and that's what you need, because when you're going to be making a film, and I mean, I think the whole film was 35 days, and I was on it for 27 days or something. You know, when you're going to be doing it, you need to be having a sense of discovery throughout the entire time. And I just kept on having this gut feeling of I wanted to return to it and take a look at it all the time. He was an interesting character in that he was someone who, in times gone by, would have been absolutely, you know, the backbone of America, as was the industry, the furnaces, the steel, the teeming streets, etc., that Braddock would have been full of. And now he's a man who is he's an archetypal American character doing the right thing and suddenly finding himself to be absolutely irrelevant. How did that happen? You know, he's done nothing wrong, but he's suddenly irrelevant, and he's out of time. And that I found to be really fascinating. And then watching the descent of a very decent man into retribution and violence, but very understandably so, very justifiably so. And so it just kept on ticking away at me. And originally we weren't actually Scott and I weren't going to be able to make it together because it just the timetables weren't working out. And Scott had said to me, hey, I'd like you to play Russell. I don't really want to make it if you don't play Russell. And you know, you feel incredibly flattered when you hear directors say that, and not to be cynical, but a lot of directors say that, and then when you say, I'm sorry, I can't do it, they go to another actor and they say, you know what, I can't imagine anyone else but you playing that. I can't do it. And you know that they're doing that to get the film made. And so then it happened. There was a sort of an impulsive call I made to Scott, just to me as a supportive call of what you're doing and best of luck with the film. Who did you cast? And he said, well, I'm not doing it because you didn't do it. And I thought, wow, you know what? The guy really has got balls. He really sticks to his guns, you know, with that. And so we found a time and made it.
Now, Scott, you had mentioned to me earlier that, in fact, it wasn't just with Christian. It was with many members of the cast, with actually shooting it in Braddock. As still a relatively young filmmaker, this is only your second film, what makes you sort of have the confidence and the wherewithal to dig your heels in on things like that and think that every one of those dominoes along the way is worth fighting over?
Well, when you make a film, and you make a very personal film like this, you know it's going to take a toll on you physically and mentally and emotionally, and those that you love, your wife and your kids. And if I'm going to leave my wife and my two kids, I want to make a movie that's going to stand the test of time, and that when you leave this theater, hopefully doesn't just quickly vanish from your consciousness, but you think about it tomorrow, or you think about it next week, a moment on a bridge between two lovers, or two brothers in a kitchen talking about working for a living, those sort of things. And it's really important to me, because I know that I will only make a handful of films probably in my career. I tend to be very commitment phobic, that I go into that foxhole with people whom I admire and people that I know will help me realize my vision to its highest potential. And I happen to have in this cast among the best actors, I think, who are working today. And it's such a thrill to go to set every day, and you know that actors like Casey and Zoe and Christian are going to surprise you and exhilarate you. And I would drive home after every day saying to myself, I am one of the luckiest filmmakers on earth because they are giving me things that I could never have dreamed of. And that's why I make movies.